And we are on air.
Hi guys, my name is Brianna and today we're going to be having a chat about Dead to Me Season 2, so let's get right into the video. Okay, so I really love this show. I got into it a little bit after the first season had come out, and I have been waiting for the second season, and I was not disappointed. It's one of those shows that has such a serious, dramatic plot line, but that is so funny. This show is hysterical. But before I get into any of it, let me just say, spoiler alert, if you have not seen it, go watch it first and then come back to this video. Okay, so let me start off with some things that I thought were really funny about the show this season. One, the whole thing about the mafia, like, that's so ridiculous and it makes zero sense as a plot line, but that's what makes it so funny. Like, so many shows, if they included something stupid like that, it would ruin it, but it didn't. It was so comedic and I loved it. I couldn't stop laughing. Next thing that ruins so many shows but was just genuinely hysterical in this one, a magical twin popping out of nowhere. Like, shows be putting twins just to fix plot errors or to make a crazy twist just out of nowhere, and it's always so frustrating, like, oh great, it's a twin. But it was so funny when they included a twin in this one. And honestly, the first thing I thought was that they were doing a whole bringing a character back from the dead thing, and I wasn't really happy about it. Like, the first moment we saw the twin, and then she was like, oh my gosh, your brother, and then I was like, oh, okay, so it's a twin, and I couldn't stop laughing. I thought it was so funny. Then there are little things in it that are just so ridiculous that, like, them happening isn't funny, but overall just makes it so hysterical. Like, the fact that the son literally stole a car and barely got in trouble. Like, imagine if you were a teenager and you stole a car. I would be grounded for life. She just, like, made him follow her around for a bit and then that was it. Like, what? If I stole a car, I'd be dead. She has, like, no discipline on her children, and I think it's so funny. I don't know why I find it so funny. Another really funny thing about the show is how terrible they are at crime, and yet they somehow keep getting away with things. Like, they always do the wrong thing and somehow they don't get caught. I don't get it. And it's so funny because they would not get away with it in real life, and it's just one of those shows that I don't know how or why, but it has everything that other shows have that make me go, that could never happen in real life. This is ridiculous. But in this show, it makes me go, oh my god, that's hysterical. The show also has a lot of really touching moments, though. Like when they bury the bird, when the bird dies. That's so sad because the boy was crying because that's his dad as a bird that he's burying. And then Judy was crying because it was like she was burying Steve, and it was just so emotional. I love how they have so many, like, emotional moments like that weaved within the show. And it's also really interesting because you go so back and forth with every character on whether or not you're supposed to like them. And I think that's so interesting because that is the one thing in the show that is so true to real life. It really makes you think about how someone in real life could do something so terrible and yet you're still torn on if you like them or not. Like, Judy does terrible things in the show, and yet her character is somehow portrayed as so likable and everybody loves her and she's great, but she's terrible. And it makes you think about, in real life, how there could be people who do, like, terrible things, but they could somehow still be good people. And I just really like that whole idea. I think it's really interesting, and you see that in every single character, good and bad, in all of them. And I really like that. Then if we get into the actual drama plotline of the show, it's so crazy and engaging. Like, you want to know what's gonna happen next. It's so unpredictable. Who was sitting there first season going, oh, I know how they're gonna get out of this. It turns out Steve's involved with the mafia, and the guy in the mafia, he is in the police station, and the head chief, and he's gonna get in trouble instead of them. Who could predict that? Who could predict that the mafia would save them from getting in trouble for murder. And it's so interesting because even when the mafia first came into the storyline, the characters themselves were laughing at it, and it didn't seem like that was going to be the point of redemption for them. It just seemed like a comical bit in the show. And then next thing you know, the last episode comes and that's what saves them. You know, the detective wouldn't have released her if she didn't see that they caught the chief. She wouldn't have released her without having someone else to take the fall. Another thing I really like about the show is how they play around with the romance. I loved the whole plot line with Judy and her falling in love, but then, oh no, the roommate is the cop, so she can't. And then Jen falling in love with Steve's twin. It's so interesting to see how they bring romance into it. And then at the very end, for Ben, the twin, to be the one who hits them and gets them in a hit and run. Also the fact that it's a hit and run, because in the first season was all about her husband dying in a hit and run. Just the location of it was where she just got a stop sign put into place, and it's so interesting. And that moment is the moment that also shows Ben having good and bad, because the whole season he seemed like just the good guy. Like, yeah, we knew he struggled with alcoholism, but he didn't do anything bad or wrong until that last scene, him being the driver in the hit and run. Like, what? And I also think that kind of ties in with the whole twin idea, like both of them involved in a hit and run. They both get in accidents and leave the scene, Steve and Ben. Like, it's just so interesting. It's like all those little like stupid tropes that they included that, like I said, I loved because I thought they were hysterical. They somehow tied them in such interesting ways and included so many little details that made them so fascinating. Like, you know that time and effort was put into this show. Someone just didn't throw a bunch of tropes together and go, oh, this will be funny. Like, they thought about it, like, okay, if we're gonna use twins, if we're gonna go there, what can we do to make this deeper? And I love that. This show has so many genres in it that I can't even fathom it. It's a drama, it's a thriller, it's a comedy, it's just, oh, I love it. And it also has so many heartfelt moments, and it's just all over the place, and I am obsessed. However, I feel like in this next season there's gonna be some sort of a twist where they actually get in trouble, because the driving force, the event that is triggering this next season, has nothing to do with them doing something bad. It was someone else, right? Ben drinking and driving. I think somehow something for once not being their fault is going to trigger them getting caught for things they did in the past. Judy, they have proof that she was involved in the hit and run. They were going to arrest her but couldn't because she was involved in another case. Why hasn't she been arrested? You know, they're pushing it onto Steve. But I feel like with Ben coming into this and he's gonna find out the truth, and I feel like all of it is going to come to a headstone, and all the good things that have been happening are gonna crumble and they're actually gonna get caught. That's just what I'm predicting, but who knows? We'll see next season. Oh, I cannot wait. I know this is on the shorter end of videos like this that I do, but I don't really know what else to say. I just really love the show, and it's just, I recommend it so much. But yeah, if you guys have any other things about the show that you want to talk about, you can comment them down below. I could talk about the show forever. I'm just not sure what would be interesting and what to mention. So we can start a conversation in the comments down below. But alright guys, that's it for today's video. Thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed. Happy VEDIM, and I'll see you guys tomorrow. Mwah.